Alright, audio recorders. These are the main two ones out there on the market right now in our price range, is the Zoom H4n and the TASCAM DR-40. Everybody has a side in this argument. Tangible uses TASCAMs. They're nice. The Zooms are nice too. They're basically the same exact thing. I'm going to step down from my prejudice for a minute and admit that they're basically the same exact thing. There's not a lot of difference. Everything I say today about the TASCAM is going to be very closely relatable with the Zoom. I promise. Don't hold me to that, actually. Alright, basic overview of the TASCAM. You have internal microphones. You have your main buttons here. You have a dual XLR inputs, which are nice. So you can plug in two microphones, stereo system, whatever you want to do. Play, record, pause. We're going to get more into buttons in a minute. That's a reference slide, if anything. A big thing about using a dual system like we use, is that there's a stop versus record. There's a whole, and I don't know if the Zoom does this. I think it does. I could be wrong though. The TASCAM does it for sure. When we're recording, you hit record to record. Makes sense. And then you hit record again to pause the recording or stop to stop the recording. Big thing is to make sure you hit stop to stop the recording. Because if you pause the recording, it just strings all your recordings into one log file and the editor hates you because it sucks to cut that part. I think, Michelle, you probably experienced that too. I have. So, you know, we want to split so that we can match up, oh, this audio clip goes with this video clip, it goes in order, it's beautiful, it's nice. That's a big thing about dual system that not a lot of people necessarily click without having heard it first. Yeah, there's the basic workflow for just recording. You turn it on, you hold the power button, this one. You press record once and you get into like a monitor mode, is what we call it. And basically you can then plug in headphones and you can listen to what you're hearing, so you can fine tune all your audio levels and stuff like that without actually recording using a space. And then you hit record again to actually start recording, and then press stop to cut. There's pretty much never a time when I want the recording to pause. I cannot think of a situation. I don't know why it's a function, to be totally honest. I don't. I wish they just, whatever. Alright, so this is a little bit of a demo. So when you press power, first of all, this is what it looks like when it's off. Not this. This is what it looks like when it's off. Press power, turns on, you see little spinning wheels. And then a lot of times you see this phantom on thing. And phantom power is what powers a lot of our microphones, not all of them. Phantom power can be real tricky. Phantom power is like a power that this device supplies through the XLR inputs to microphones that require it. Certain ones do, certain ones don't. You do need to make sure you know if your microphone requires it or not, because if you throw phantom power through a non-phantom power device, like a non-phantom power microphone, ribbon microphones are notorious for this, you will blow the microphone and then it will be no good, and then you're really sad. And then we're all really sad because the microphone's gone and we're wasting phantom power. The Rode NTG2, which we use, and I think most of the Rode shotgun microphones, all require phantom power or a battery inside the microphone. Ours has the option of going either way. And we usually use phantom power. It's usually a cleaner sound. Sometimes if you put a battery inside it, I haven't personally experienced it, but it is said that it's not quite as good quality-wise. So we usually do use phantom power. Just make sure you double check always whether or not you should use phantom power. If you do want to use phantom power, which we do, if you don't, by the way, the switch is on the side. It's like right here on the side to turn it on and off. But if you do want to use phantom power, you hit the enter button. It's big. It says enter. And then you come to this screen. This is what you're going to be seeing most of the time. A screen that looks just like this. Zeros across the top. Sometimes this will say no music file, sometimes it'll say a function. It doesn't really matter. And then we're going to hit record once. When you hit record once, you're in that monitor mode I was talking about. And you'll see this square change to be like a circle and a pause sign. And this is monitoring, so now it's monitoring, so you can hear whatever's going on. You press it again, and then you're recording. And how you know you're recording is if these numbers are going up. So if you see the numbers going up, that means it's recording. That's all you'll hear me say on set all the time, are the numbers going up. And that's what it means. So if you hit pause, which I don't want you to ever do, you'll see this come up. You'll still have numbers here, but you'll have this little monitor symbol again. You'll still be monitoring it, but you're paused. And if you press it again, the numbers keep going up, and it's a pain in the butt. So hit stop instead. You can hit pause and then stop if you want to. That's fine. Kind of a weird way to do it, but whatever. So you hit stop again, and then you see the numbers go back to 0. We're now in track 1. You can see the name of the track down there. It's back to stop, and you can't hear anything anymore because you stopped. These buttons, these are important. These control headphone volume. Do not mix them up with the sensitivity buttons. That is a big, big difference. So this is the headphone buttons that brings up this menu, which is your headphone volume. It's maxed out right now. On the side here is the sensitivity buttons. Those change your input levels, which is going to vary greatly based on what you're shooting. We usually go around 50. But that's how sensitive microns are. The higher up that is, the louder things are going to be, and the more sensitive microns are going to be. But yeah, big difference. If your headphones are like all the way up, you're probably going to want to bump them down and bump your sensitivity up to make things sound right. Otherwise, you're going to get real quiet up and down. This button, it used to say like menu or something. Ours is obviously worn off. But trust me, it's like a menu button. And this is where you're going to do pretty much any setting changes you need to. This is your recording mode, that's what it is. So we have a couple options with the TASCAM. We have mono, which we use sometimes. Oh, maybe right back. We have mono, which we use sometimes. Mono is just a single channel. We'll use that if we're recording off of like the shotgun mic and we're just using one of the XLR inputs. We'll use mono in that case, and that way we're not left with a dead track on a stereo recording. So use mono for that kind of situation. You'll see source is X in 1, that's external in 1, which is this XLR jack. External in 2 is that one. You'll figure out very quickly if you're on the right or wrong one, if you can't hear anything. Stereo we use sometimes too. Stereo is what the internal mics use, the silver things on top. We use, and now you see the source is int mic stereo, so it'll be recording from both of those. They can go in an X, Y, or an AB pattern. So that gets you stereo. Stereo, you can also do external if you have two things plugged in externally. Hey, welcome to the party. So yes, that's switching to external in 1, 2, so that's using both external inputs. There's a few other modes that we like really don't use at all, but we really should because they're really cool. Dual. You'll notice a red light came on right there. Dual. What dual does? Dual and 4-channel are the next two modes, the last two modes, and they do very different things. Don't mix them up. They sound very similar, but they're not. Dual. What dual does is it records a track and it records another track at a lower sensitivity. This is what we call a safety track. Basically, if you're recording something and someone starts shouting in the middle of it and you're not attuned to that, it'll probably you'll get some modulation.
It'll blow up the audio.
Yeah, it will blow out the audio. You'll hear on it, and it sounds horrible. It's my imitation. So, recording a safety track is good in any situation where your volume levels are going to vary greatly. Because you want maybe a high enough sensitivity where you can record like a normal dialogue, but then maybe someone like explodes in the middle, like it's not physically. That would probably be edited in post. Probably. Like, explodes like shouting wise. And in that case, you'd want that safety track, so you can go back and say, okay, let me grab the audio from there at a lower decibel rating where it didn't modulate. So that's what dual does. You can do it with the int mics, you can also do it with the external mics. I've used it a couple times. It is helpful when you use it. 4-channel, what 4-channel does, you record everything in 4-channel. 4-channel is when you use this thing to the max. That means you're recording from both of these as well as both of those mics. This is useful in a number of situations as well. Anytime you want, like these internal mics are really good at recording like the ambient audio, the environmental audio. So if you want to have that, like if you're in a crowd setting, we've done this before. Like we recorded, when we shot the Young Leaders Conference last year, I used 4-channel because we had the Rode mic going in the 2 XLR inputs, and that was recording like the stage. And this was in the O'Connell's, or the rights. And then I had the int mics on to record crowd noise basically. So the Rode's a very directional mic. So we grab the stage and the performers with the Rode mic, and then we have this other track with the 2. Actually, I think I only used one. No, I'm sorry. I used one of the XLRs for the Rode mic, and I had another XLR that was a direct feed off of the microphones from the stage. I was able to get an XLR out from their soundboard, so I could grab that directly. So I really had like 3 different things recording into the same device, which was nice because it's all synced for me, because it all records into one.